Today on CityCast Chicago, we're back with the second day of our Fall Getaway guide. Yesterday, we gave you all the tips and tricks for the best road trips near Chicagoland, but you don't need a car to have some fall fun, trust me. That's right. We're talking about one of Chicago's most underrated getaway options, day trips on the Metra. It's Wednesday, September 27th. I'm Jacoby Cochran, and this is what Chicago's talking about.
You know, I think it's like that really specific feeling when you're walking down the street and you feel the sun, but you feel a little bit of a chill and you clutch your sweatshirt and you're like, it's fall.
Allison Yates is the founder of Read and Run Chicago and contributed to a Time Out article on the best day trips by Metra. Allison, welcome to CityCast Chicago.
Hey, Jacoby.
I'm excited to have you here, Allison, and I mean this. Metra is one of my favorite things in Chicago. I think since we spend so much time talking about public transit, obviously, we just kind of forget that we have a whole other train system in the city of Chicago. You know, why do you think a day trip via Metra is a good idea?
Oh my gosh, yes. So Metra, I always say, is like you're on it and you're like, what did I do to deserve this gift? It is so nice. It's like there's 4 locations in downtown Chicago that you can hop on and you can get to, let me just tell you, there are 11 lines serving 242 stations all around the Chicagoland area. So that's a lot. You can really spice up your weekend routine. You can do a lot of fun activities. You can get to a lot of places. And even if the places that you're going to aren't like directly right outside the Metra station that you're going to, you can take a bike on the Metra. You can take a quick ride share once you get to the location. There are so many possibilities, and you do not have to be held back by traffic, which is the worst.
For me personally, it was my first real experience in Chicago. My mother took the 87th Auburn Gresham Metra into downtown pretty much every day of my childhood. Most of my adult life, I've never lived too far from a Metra station. So it's always been a convenient option for me. What do you think makes it different or better than, your kind of average car road trip?
Well, I think the fact that you can just kind of sit back and relax is the biggest thing for me. Like you can eat, you can drink alcohol within moderation on the Metra. Some Metra lines do have Wi-Fi, and some are even equipped with outlets. So you're basically in a traveling living room is how I see it. And so I think compared to a car, there's just so much less stress. And you're just there to enjoy, chatting with your friends. You're having your snacks. You're getting excited for where you're going, and you can just sit back and relax.
And it's double decker compared to public transit where you're rarely going to get a seat. When you get on the Metra, you're pretty much, unless you're in that rush hour, I'm almost always guaranteed a seat. And some Metras even have a bathroom right on the train car. Oh my gosh.
I can't believe I didn't mention that. As someone who goes to the bathroom a lot, that is huge. And they're not that bad. They're really not that bad. And I love how you mentioned the double decker point because that's really fun.
I'm not even gonna lie. The little secret between both of us when I was in high school and we would take the Metra when I was going to Mount Carmel, we was getting off on 63rd Street. We would try to hide in the stairwell to try to avoid paying the fare. That was before it was right on your phone. That was right when the conductor would come through, have to punch holes. It was high school, right? I pay now. I'll do my Apple Pay now.
But were you successful?
Hell no. They knew what we was on. He would see me in there and call me out every single time. When you're getting on the Metra, you can take it as far north as Kenosha. You can take it into the south suburbs. You could take it out into West Illinois. What are some of your trips for packing for a Metra day trip?
Okay, I know I've already talked about food 4 times, but bring a lot of food. That's so fun. Well, actually, or you don't have to bring a lot of food. I would say food's number 1 for me for a lot of trips. So pack snacks that you like, but also make sure to look up ahead of time, are there restaurants in the Metra stations that you're going to? Because that's really fun as well. What else you should pack is definitely water. Wherever you go, have your reusable water bottle. Obviously, you need to pack layers. Any Chicagoan can tell you that the weather is 4 seasons in one day. So be prepared. You don't want to be uncomfortable because the thing about traveling by train that is different than traveling by car is you don't have a bunch of, you can't store a lot of different stuff. So layers is key. Have a backpack full of all of your goods. and wear comfortable shoes too.
So what do you look for when you're thinking about a fall day trip? And do you have a favorite one that you've been to using Metra?
Ooh, yes, I do. So what am I thinking about? Well, I'm a huge proponent of anytime I can be outside. I love the forest preserves. I love all the nature that we have accessible to us. Chicago's not often thought of as a nature destination, but I feel really strongly about the beauty of our forest preserves. Don't get me started.
I love it.
Yeah. So I look for nature most of all. One of my favorite places is Illinois Beach State Park. It is a little bit similar to the dunes in some aspects and some of the topography, but it's smaller. It's easier to bike around. It's not terribly far from the Zion Metra station. There's even like a hotel there that you can do a little staycation in. They have waterfront rooms, like floor to ceiling windows that you can look out onto the lake. Another one that I love is, and actually Metra has special schedules for this in the fall, Metra, Rails, Trails, and Ales. And so that's going into the Heritage Corridor, which is going past Lamont and Joliet and the places around there. And what they're really encouraging you to do is they have a lot more scheduled times over the weekend so that you can, like, the idea is you hop on your bike, you get to the Metra, you take the Metra out to that Heritage Corridor, hop off, and visit some of the best forest preserves, some of the best biking trails, and some of the best breweries in the area. That one is super fun because you're getting the fall colors, you're sipping your ales, you're chilling, you're having fun, and you're spending the entire day outside. There is nothing better.
We love talking about Chicago, and even you, right? I love the hill you're willing to die on is Chicago has great nature getaway spots, but there are some things that you just can't see in Chicago. So what are some unique day trips using the Metro to get out of the city?
So, the Forge. Have we talked about the Forge yet in Lamont? Mm-mm. So the Forge is like one of the largest outdoor adventure parks in the country, and it's located in Lamont, just a few minutes away from the Lamont Metro station. And that's like awesome if you want a little bit of adrenaline within reason. So you're going to go zip lining, you're going to do an adventure course, you're going to test your skills, and you have an amazing view of one of their old quarries. And then you'll be able to see too, a little bit, two historic canals that we have that made Chicago what they are today. So you're ziplining and you're like, a little bit of history.
I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen different pictures from this. I've seen people sort of making their way through what looks like a treetop obstacle course. But a 300-acre adventure park. I feel like you could sort of plan a huge trip there, whether it's friends, family, anything in between.
Yeah, and Lamont also, too, has murals that you can look at. They have great running and biking trails. They also have Pollyanna Brewery that people love, and hills, too. So, like, if you want a little bit of, like, wake up the glutes, that's a great place to go. It's where I go to wake up the glutes.
Hey, Metra needs to reach out to you because I love how each time you introduce, you're like, did we talk about the Forge? Only a few minutes from the Lamont Metra stop. Not too far from the Zion Metra stop. Just around the corner from the Joliet Metra stop. I love it. Speaking of things you can't always get in the city, you talked about how much you love to be out in nature. Do you have any other nature day trips you want to put people on?
So Morton Arboretum is classic. If you haven't been there, it is a wonderful historic arboretum space with a west side and an east side. They've got miles and miles of hiking trails and art exhibits. And they also plan like so many fun special events. They recently had a really awesome Hispanic Heritage Month event that was all in Spanish, and they had a mariachi band there. And so they have so many fun fall themed events. They've got cider and different, like really getting you into the fall spirit type of things. And who doesn't love to be around trees that are changing colors? That's just a little bit of a walk or a ride or a ride share from the Lyle Metro station out in Lyle, Illinois.
About 2 miles away. So that's a great opportunity to, while the weather is still permitting, to either bike, ride share, like you said, I don't know what the sidewalks is hitting like out in Lyle, but it might be, if you're up for it, a little bit of a hike.
That's right. And also, too, if you're one of those people that loves pumpkin patches and hay rides, like there are a lot of spots in the Chicago suburbs that do that. There's two in particular that people seem to also die on a hill over. That is Bankston's Pumpkin Farm. That's a little bit, just a little bit away from Orland Metra station.
Mm-hmm.
It's about an 11-minute drive, so you'd want to ride share to that one. And then way far up north, almost to Wisconsin, you've got the Richardson Adventure Farm right by the Fox Lake Metra station. So those are two options that like really like have it all, fun for the whole family, so to speak. And you could spend a really good day at both of those places. And the great thing about Metra too is like, you know, you can just put your pumpkin on your lap. No one's going to get you in trouble for it.
Mm-hmm. You take it right back with you. You know, we get a little bit of the fall spirit, but you know, some people, they hop off a Metra. They don't necessarily want to stay outdoors. They don't want to be in the cold. So if I'm taking a Metra day trip, but I'm interested in a museum, a historic site, something inside, Allison, what are your suggestions?
Stop giving us outside content. So one thing that I found in my research about Metras is that there are so many small towns that are now Chicago suburbs that originated as small towns, and they've got these amazing historic theaters, 1920s era, 1930s era theaters that are beautiful, super ornate. One of them in particular in Park Ridge, the Pickwick Theater, that is meant to be decorated like a Mayan palace, and it is like really over the top. You're like, yes, someone a long time ago thought this was a really good idea, but it's so fun to look at. And so theaters, if you're into those, I mean, who doesn't love a movie? And a lot of these theaters have special fall themed horror nights and different events that are going to be going on.
I wonder when who's going to get to the spooky.
Okay, yes. Lots of spooky there. So you can definitely check out places like the Pickwick Theater, or there's theaters in Glen Ellen and Downers Grove. Those will have great options for you to be inside and seeing something that is fall themed. Another really easy Metro right away, if you haven't been to Oak Park, there are so many amazing museums there. I mean, people just die over Frank Lloyd Wright. There's the museum and home that you can tour in Oak Park, the Frank Lloyd Wright Museum and Home. There's also, Hemingway has 2 homes in Oak Park that you can tour if you like to be inside. They also have a really fun library. They have great bookstores, good restaurants, and that is like, you are really close to the city, but you feel like you're in a different place.
Yeah, Happy Apple Pie. I believe that's the name of the pie shop that's out there in Oak Park.
Oh, okay. I haven't eaten there. What's your favorite kind of pie there?
Probably straight up. I'm going to just go for the classic apple. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm between apple and sweet potato. I can't really decide between the two, but those are just fall go-tos, winter, summer, spring. It doesn't really matter. Year round for me. With Metra providing so many different opportunities for people to travel both in the city but out of it, why do you think it's important for people to get out to enjoy these type of events? You know, especially ones that might bring them outside of Chicago.
Chicago has so many festivals and restaurants to try and amazing things. So it's like really easy to never leave the city. But I think like as a person who works a 9-to-5 job and who is really busy with life and work and all these sorts of things, like when you step outside the city of Chicago, you kind of forget that you are in the place that you live. And I really believe that it is like just a way for you to relax and see something new and different. It is good for us to be in new environments. And this is a way to do it very affordably and very easily, and still be close to home with all of the comforts that we have. It's like just an amazing opportunity to just relax and do something different and nice and learn something and see new people and see new places. It's super important to have those chances. And we have so much accessible to us.
Yeah, one of my favorite day trips from this summer was going up to Ravinia for the very first time, taking the Metra up to the Highland Park stop. And as soon as you come off of the train, it flows right into the festival grounds. And we went to see Lauryn Hill that night, and it was one of the more memorable summer concerts and summer nights. And the Metra trip was very inexpensive. We just went downtown, had some lunch, made a whole day of it, got on the train, got up there, got back with a good amount of time. Were there any day trips we didn't cover that were on your list?
Yes. Okay. So Barrington's a little bit further, but this one I particularly liked. And you know what? I really do have to give a shout out. I have the book right here. This book is like my Bible. This is Lindsay Welber's. She wrote a book called Chicago Transit Hikes that I actually use for trail running ideas. But I have to shout out that book, and especially with this one that I'm going to talk about, because in Barrington, a really quick walk from the station, you've got Cuba Marsh. And Cuba Marsh, what I love about it is it's really cool. They've got a huge boardwalk over a marsh. They've got pine trees. It's a lot of different types of forests, a little bit of rolling hills. But what I love is that it is on the site of one of the buildings that was part of the Jewel Tea Company, which is like a precursor to Jewel-Osco, like back in the day. But like just the things that you can learn from random places that you go and you never knew. They just had a sign there that said like, yes, this was part of the Jewel Tea Company. And then you go down this rabbit hole of learning a million other things about Chicago just from one place that you stepped off the Metra and went to is incredible. So I love that one.
I like the sprinkle of history on top of all your recreation, right? There's always something to be learned and gleaned, even if you are out there for exercise, recreation, or if you're trying to get away for the day. Allison Yates and her colleagues put together an amazing article for Time Out Chicago with some of the best day trips by Metra. We'll drop a link in the show notes. Allison, thank you for joining us on CityCast Chicago. It means a lot to us.
Thank you so much for having me, and have fun exploring.
Before I let you go, for more car-free trips, including treks on the Amtrak, South Shore Line, and even the Greyhound, head to our website, chicago.citycast.fm. That's also where you can subscribe to our daily newsletter, Hey Chicago. Today we learned about the latest ruling against embattled Northwest Side Alder Jim Gardner and found out where to see Jamila Woods this Thursday for the free. Remember, subscribe at chicago.citycast.fm. Of course, I gotta give you some good news. Chicago's inaugural exhibition weekend starts Friday, bringing together over 50 galleries and other art spaces from across the city for discussions, performances, screenings, and more. Check the show notes for the full schedule. I'm looking at that event Saturday morning at 11 a.m. with the Inglewood Arts Collective. As always, I appreciate you for listening. I really, really do. We're back tomorrow with camping, glamping, and hiking with the homies from Black People Outside. I'll talk to you then. Peace.
Ravinia is one of the greatest things I've ever experienced as well. Mm-hmm. I can't believe it exists. It's so fun.
It's something to see. I had to take a video of how many people were out there.
Yes. And I was like, so I just brought a couple of chairs and some snacks, and there are people here with full dining room sets and candles and flowers.
Candles, like electric lamps, like whole table sets, mint jelly, the most beautiful picnic baskets. It was, some people was just full on family reunion out there.